Hey guys, it's OberZine here. As you can see, we are not in fact playing a game. We are in fact doing a tutorial on the best settings for OBS. This is OBS Studio, the latest version to date, which is 0.15.2. So literally it is right up to date. They only just updated it like yesterday. So that's yesterday in my terms. But anyway guys, let's jump into it. And I've got it open on a separate window over here so I can actually configure it while I'm recording on OBS on the other window. So anyway, settings. And then we're going to click on where it says General. It's already clicked on there. And we're going to click on where it says Theme. I've got mine clicked on Dark. You probably have it on default. Dark is just nice on the eyes, in my opinion. We're not doing streaming settings, but they are self-explanatory. Once you've got the recording settings like actually done, then it's more sort of self-explanatory, if that makes sense. You'll see what I mean. So let's click on Output. You got to make sure that instead of being clicked on Simple, click on Advanced. We're not doing streaming again, so we're going to click on recording. These are my settings, by the way. You can follow them all you like. I've got mine set up to a completely separate hard drive. That's what I would recommend, setting yours up to a completely separate hard drive to your games and your operating system. I have 6 hard drives in my computer. Yeah, there's quite a few hard drives. So anyway, let's jump into actually what we got set up. So type, we got that standard. That's normal. Recording path, separate hard drive. Recording format, that's important because if you got it set to that, which is default, which is FLV, then you're going to find that you can't have 2 audio tracks. So you want to have it set to MP4. If you want to have 2 audio tracks, keep it on MP4. Click audio track 1, audio track 2. So now we can go down to the encoder. The encoder is going to be the AMD video coding engine because I've got an AMD graphics card in my computer. Now, if you've got an NVIDIA graphics card, it's most likely going to say something like NVIDIA video coding engine or something similar. Yeah, there's going to be 2 options. You've got the normal standard is it HD codec? I'm guessing that's a HD codec. It is a HD codec. That's a bit silly. But that's the standard CPU preset. So it's using the CPU to do all the encoding and all the recording. And then the one underneath is usually utilizing just the graphics card. It's like a special little chip on the graphics card, which is out of the way of when you're playing games, when you're doing editing or so on. This little chip is solely for recording videos. Like, that's exactly what it's designed for encoding. And that we're going to click on that one, which is my AMD video encoding engine. Rescale output, don't need to change that. My resolution on my main screen isn't full HD. It's a very strange resolution. It's 1680 by 1050. As you can see there, it's slightly grayed out. We're not going to change any settings here, don't need to. Main, leave that default. The bitrate, we are going to change that. That I have set to quite a high quality. I have it set to 12,000. That's quite a high bit quality. You can have it lower, so mess around with it. Recommendation between 8,000 to 12,000. That's my recommendation. Find that sweet spot. Because for everyone it's different. I have mine set to 12,000 again because I try and keep the highest quality that I possibly can. Even when I render out the video, once I've edited it, I still keep it exactly the same bitrate. So it literally is raw footage. It's raw footage from when it's being encoded to when it's being output and being uploaded to YouTube. On this video, in this case, I've actually been recording it in this encoder, and I've set this to 6,000 for the simple reason that I want the quality to be pristine quality. When you're recording a game, it's slightly different as when you're recording using the AMD video coding engine for some reason. I'm not entirely sure why, but you get some weird stuttering lines going across. You've probably seen in some of my videos when I'm in a still on the game, like in the score screen, the leaderboard screen, sometimes the lines just go up and it starts getting blurry all the way up the screen. So I use the CPU when I'm recording just like the desktop or something. But like the CPU usage is probably about, it says there, about 15%. So that's not too bad. In this program, it says 26%, but the CPU usage over there says 50. That makes no sense. That literally makes no sense to me. But anyway, we're going to click back onto the CPU there. Everything else is set to, well, that's set to very fast. It depends on your computer. Your computer probably, depending what type of computer you've got, what processor you've got, the CPU. Some of these do default themselves. I have set mine set to very fast because my CPU is quite powerful. It's an 8-core CPU. So bear that in mind on your CPU. If you've got 4-core, you might want to change it to like a faster or fast. If you've got 8 core, 12 core, 16 core, 20 core, 44 core. Yeah, 44 core CPUs do exist, believe it or not. You can click on like even faster ones if you want. Just bearing in mind, the faster you click on it, the fastest one you click, it will eat up your CPU performance. Your CPU will literally just be at 100% depending how good your CPU is. If you've got a ridiculously good CPU, 44 core CPU, you can put it on the best setting possible, ultra fast, and keep the settings like default, and your CPU would use like 1%. I've seen it. I've seen videos of that on the internet. It is phenomenal. So what else do we need to change here? We don't need to change anything else. Just make sure that you've got rate control as constant bit rate. Because if you've got it as variable bit rate, or I have no idea what that is, average bit rate, no idea. But basically, any other setting, your video will basically not work properly. Got it on constant bitrate, it's going to have the same bitrate as what you've got set in this box just here. So the same for when you're on the AMD video coding engine. Again, I've got mine set to 12,000 on the actual graphics card, which is the AMD graphics card, and I've got it set to 12,000. So you can have this set to the constant quality. There you go. And you got the variable bitrate. If you got it set to either of them, when editing a video in Premiere Pro, for example, or Sony Vegas, the video will be out of sync with the audio, and it'll basically be impossible to get it back into sync unless you're very clever with how to get videos into sync with audio. I mean, it's not particularly difficult, it's just more hassle. So to save that hassle, just stick with constant bitrate, and then you won't have any editing problems. You won't have any out of audio issue sync options issues, because sometimes I get the YouTube notification saying your video and audio may be out of sync. To correct this, please see this tutorial, and it's never out of sync. So I don't know what the issue is there, but yeah. Anyway, we're going to click on the audio tab, which is over here, and you click on audio. I've got my audio track 1 set to 160 because that's my game audio. I don't need the game audio to be high quality. Like, really, you're hearing my voice, you're not hearing the game, really, are you? And the game audio, like, is pretty standard. It's not needing to be high quality. But the mic is track 2, and that's at 320. That's maximum quality on this program. So 320 bitrate. Yeah. And we can name them. So I can name that mic, and I can name this game audio. It already knows it's audio because it's in the audio track things. So we're going to click on audio. Now we name them. And once we're in here, you can see that I've got this set to 44.1 kilohertz instead of 48 kilohertz. Now, bearing in mind that if I click on my audio playback devices and I drag this to my window over here, and you click on recording, then you click on mic in rear panel. So it depends where your microphone's plugged in. Like if you've got USB mic, click on the USB mic or so on. But basically, the one that you're utilizing, that's default, mine's the rear one, you want to click on this. Most programs will, most computers will say default 48,000 kilohertz, 48 kilohertz. Well, that's not particularly great because a lot of drivers and software will actually crash because of that. If you set it to that, that's a universal standard. That's 44,100 hertz. That is literally a universal standard. It will basically save you the hassle of your computer crashing. If you find that your computer blue screens, if you find that your game crashes to the desktop, if you find that anything crashes to your desktop when you're playing audio, yeah, when anything's playing audio, just change that. Guarantee it will fix the problems. Guaranteed. But anyway, you got to make sure that it's set to exactly the same sample rate as that what I've just shown you. So channel stereo, depending what your stereo setup is, what your setup is for sound. I've got stereo setup, headphones, desktop audio device. That's just set to default. Sometimes I play audio through the speakers. Sometimes I play audio through the headphones. And then set this up to your default microphone, because sometimes it doesn't like playing well with when it's set to default with the microphone. It's strange. So just set it to your default microphone that you will always use, which mine is just here. And you don't want to set up any of these unless you really must, unless you really want to. Nothing else is set up in this page, as you can see. So video, we're going to set this to linear, fastest, if you want to record in HD. Depending on your computer, right? Set it to maybe 720. Yeah? That's output, scaled resolution. So what you could do is, well, you don't need to click on anything just here. But this is my main screen just there. It's 1050, 1680 by 1050, strange resolution. It's similar to HD. It works out perfectly for games. Like everything fits in it instead of having borders. Very strange resolution. But you can click on your 1080p screen, and then you put output scaled resolution to possibly 720, maybe 1080. I have mine set to 1080 anyway. You don't need to have yours changed really. It depends on what you got set as your output on recording. If you've got yours set to ridiculously high and so on and so forth, depending if it's on the CPU, then you probably will want to change that. But your video card should be able to handle the 1080p. Most people now have a modern video graphics driver and video card that can handle video encoding when recording and so on. I have mine set to 60 frames per second. Depending on your computer setup again, you might want to have it set to 30 frames per second. Again, that is down to your computer, so fiddle around with them settings. Mine's set to 60 FPS. Hotkeys, I have mine set to F9 to start recording, F10 to stop recording. Again, that is personal preference. You can have yours set however you want on your keyboard, and you can change every other hotkey, which I don't have set for anything, because I don't need to use anything else other than stop and start, or start and stop, wrong way around. If you're streaming and stuff, you can have the ones set next to that, so you can have F7, well, you can have F11 and F12. So F11 for start streaming and F12 for stop streaming. But I'm not doing streaming, so I don't need to have them set. Advanced, do not change anything at all in advanced. The stuff that's in advanced, they've put here for a reason, for you not to touch. They even state that on their website when you download it. Do not touch anything in the advanced settings. You do not need to. Like it's literally set default and it works. If someone on a forum, if you're writing a log to someone, there is a log section where you can download your log from the program and then upload it to the forum. If someone in the log in the forum suggests to change something in the advanced setting, make sure that they're like a certified person from that forum. So if they got a little tick next to their name saying that they're verified, saying that they're a developer, saying that they're an admin, a moderator, yeah, make sure they're a legit person. You'll know what I mean by legit. You'll be able to tell straight away that they're a legit person, that are well respected. They probably have like 20,000 posts. Yeah, it tells you under their name how many posts they've got, how many thanks they've got. Yeah, if they're telling you to change something in here, maybe listen to them. Unlikely they will tell you to change anything in the advanced settings, so don't touch the advanced setting. So to basically sum it up, I've got audio track 1 and 2 here. So we're now coming out of the settings. So I can click apply on that. It's probably changing my settings on the other OBS. It's going to be annoying. So as you can see, I've got my microphone set up here, and it's speaking as I'm speaking, probably out of complete sync with the way I'm speaking. But we're going to click on filters, and we're going to see it's got gain. Your gain will be completely different. So fiddle around with this. The way I find this, the easiest way to do this, basically move it up so you can see. Just basically go 1 2 1 2 testing testing. See until it hits just before the top, and basically keep adjusting it until it reaches just before the top of the max bit just there. So we're going to click on noise gate. Again, you're going to fiddle around with these. Try and keep them as close as possible. Fiddle around with it until basically when you stop speaking, the microphone just turns off. And then the best way to do it is when you go completely silent and then start tapping on the keyboard. That's when you want the threshold. Yeah, so just fiddle around with it. So when you're tapping on the keyboard, you can just about hear it. Yeah, so click on close on that. And then we're going to click on mixer. Mixer is where we're going to find out the mic audio, which is going to be track 2, which is the highest quality, 320 bitrate. Remember, the desktop audio is going to be the desktop audio, so the gameplay, the just desktop audio in general. We're going to have that set to 1, track 1, because it's the lower quality one. We don't need the audio to be high quality for that. You can, it's personal preference, but in my opinion, you do not need it high quality unless you're doing some sort of video recording of a video and weird Inception stuff. You don't need it high quality basically. Then click on close on that, and then we go down to where it says here sources. Well, you can create a new scene. It's quite easy to create a new scene. Just it's usually set up default, and then you can click on image. I've got mine set up to, I'll show you on here, it's easier. So I've got mine set up to image. You literally put your own image in. Yeah, make sure it's a PDF image or a GIF image if you want to have it as a see-through background, or make sure it's got an alpha background if it's any other type of image. Generally, JPEGs don't have alpha backgrounds, so I got mine set as a PNG image. Wow, that my file formats just aren't working today. So a PNG file format, which I made in Photoshop myself. I made this complete image in Photoshop myself. It's where my webcam goes. You can see it just here, this little outline. And then we got the video display, video capture device, which is literally the webcam. Like, that's your preference, your webcam. It will come up in that. If you double click on it, it will actually show you monitor integrated webcam 3. I only have one webcam. No idea where it says 3. But you literally just need to set that up as default. So don't change anything on that. You really don't need to. If your webcam's good enough. Mine isn't particularly great. It doesn't film in HD. It's an old webcam. What can I say? The screen, the monitor, the built-in webcam is 10 years old. It's still doing good. Yeah, you can still see my face. It's pretty clear. Yeah. So we're going to click on now where it says game capture. By the way, to add all of these, literally just click that plus. They're all there. Yeah. Or you can right click in the empty space. Click add and choose what you want. So you can see I've got display capture. It's what it says. Capture the display. Window capture. Again, that's what it says. And game capture. Now, if you're recording games, that's the most important bit. So you click on that. Game capture. Capture any full screen application. Self-explanatory. Yeah? That's just for games. Not anything else, just games. Because it's game capture. So you can actually change it, and you can have it to any other game. My last game was Overwatch, but any other game that appears here, so the game that you're playing, like these programs won't work. They simply won't work. Yeah, but yeah, I'm using Microsoft Edge. Yeah, I know, terrible, but they simply won't work. Them programs. So you need to make sure you have a DirectX 9 or above game playing, and then you can click on it, and it will actually display in the window. So when you're capturing it, make sure, because it'll probably default to some weird resolution on here, just right click on the screen, or right click on here even. Just make sure that the one that you want selected is there. Just click on it, go on to transform, and then stretch to screen. Yeah? So the image was set to, let's see if I can reset it for you. Oh no, I actually made it to the right specification on the screen. Okay, what about video capture device? I think that was the one that was set to a weird resolution. Yeah, it probably won't even come up. We just reset it by accident anyway. What about this one? Yep, that was set to a completely weird resolution. You can't even see it on the screen. So you just literally click on transform, stretch the screen, and then it puts it to the screen width for you. Again, you can literally click on it on, for example, the webcam or the game capture, and you can move it around the screen if you want, but you don't really need to. You can stretch the whole screen if you want the image. There you go. We can click on transform and then click on stretch to screen. This is useless stuff for you guys, but if you guys did enjoy this tutorial, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, like leave some comments, because I did do a previous tutorial and it got over 10,000 views, and I did try to respond to every comment and try and help you guys, and I see that some of you guys did help out each other. Really do appreciate that. If you guys can do it again, because now I've got the latest version of OBS, and if you guys got the latest version of OBS, then like hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, check out the links in the description down below. I'm also selling some merchandise. I'm selling some t-shirts and hoodies and maybe a little bag like for women and so on. There are women's clothes on there as well, so if there are some women gamers, you guys can literally buy my merchandise. Just check out the links in the description down below. Literally every little bit helps me out to make videos like this in the future. So anyway guys, I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.